All right. So StreamYard says that I'm live. Now I just gotta wait for YouTube to notify everybody that I'm live because I don't really want to start this particular live stream before YouTube let people know. And there it is. YouTube has let people know that I'm live. Nice. So now that the whole entire Vibe Nation knows that I'm live, we can officially begin this very special live stream. And I don't want to keep my man waiting. So maybe we should just go ahead and get into the intro. I mean, this thing has been scheduled for a few hours now, so people aren't here yet. That is on them. That is not on me. I scheduled it. So here we go. All right, let's go to work. So this is episode 58, and the man has returned. We're about to welcome back Mr. 10 Million himself, Marques Brownlee, MKBHD. VypDrive starts now. What's up, people? This your boy Viper, the man about tech, and welcome back to another episode of VypDrive. This is the podcast about tech, hosted by the man about tech. And let's stop wasting time and get my dude in here, Mr. 10 million subs on YouTube himself, Mr. Marques Brownlee, MKBHD. What's up, bro? How you doing?
What's up, man? You flip a switch so fast, dude.
Man, you know when the camera go on, Marques, it's time to go.
I feel you. How's it been?
Good, man. I feel like we were just here, a year ago, I think?
Has it been that long, though? Wow.
It's been that long since we've been on the podcast. I don't think it's been that long since you talked to me. I think we talked a few months ago. So
okay, got
it. Definitely. Oh, before we get started, let me shout out these supporters out here. I think I saw what's the dude's name? Okay, Demi Hard. I can't highlight your super chat because it's gone by the wayside, but thank you for the support, Demi Hard. Oh no, there it is. All right, so Demi Hard, appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much. And I think we got Rockford Media. Thank you, Rockford Media, for the support. I appreciate you. So, you know what? Not going to waste any time with this one, Marques. I think anybody who has paid attention over the past month knows that me and you kind of have a little bit of a disagreement. It seems like we have this every year, though, me and you. But I'm not going to go into it because you said what you said on your podcast. I think I made my opinion known. But I'm just curious, though.
Yeah.
The OnePlus 7 Pro smartphone of the year 2019.
Yep.
I'm not here to argue with you about it, but I think everybody who's watching and my people that listen on audio only, they want to know what makes the OnePlus 7 Pro in your mind the smartphone of the year last year.
Yeah, I feel like so. Yeah, I did. You're right. I broke it down a bit on the podcast. The question really should be, what does it mean to be smartphone of the year? Because you could say, is it the best overall phone? Is it the best phone for the most people? Is it the best phone for the price? Is it just the best phone? What does MVP really mean? I picked OnePlus 7 Pro as my smartphone of the year for a sort of a combination of those reasons. It was, in my opinion, the best combination of a lot of those things. So the display, 90 hertz, that was a huge one. A lot of people were questioning the choice of like, if it doesn't have the best cameras, how can it be the smartphone of the year? If it doesn't have the best battery, how can it be the smartphone of the year? For me, if it doesn't have higher refresh rate, it cannot be the smartphone of the year. So that was a big part of that for me. And then the OS, the smartphone experience, they've been on top of their stuff with updates. They even had phones come out after that were also pretty great in their ways. It was significantly less expensive than a lot of the other phones and delivering a better experience because of the choices they made. So it was almost like the bang for the buck was off the charts. So a lot of things went into it, but I feel like you could make an argument pretty easily for OnePlus 7 Pro for smartphone of the year for me. But I heard your pick. Well, actually, what was your pick? Because I feel like you don't like the choice, but you also haven't officially given a definitive other winner.
Oh, I have. My pick was the iPhone 11 Pro Max. That was my pick.
Okay, fair. And I think a lot of people would also pick that as either the best phone that came out during the year or the best iPhone ever or whatever you want. That's a good reason for it. To me, I just can't give a 60 hertz phone of the year.
Okay,
it's that simple.
So we got to get into this. Into this because I have a hard time understanding this, but you are not alone in this sentiment. So I need to know, the people need to know, Marques, what is it about refresh rate that is so critical to you and other people in choosing a smartphone?
I think I might have to do a whole video on this.
Yes.
I might have to do like refresh rate explained or high refresh rate or something like that.
Please do.
Okay. Because, I mean, when it comes down to it, a lot of people either haven't used a high refresh rate smartphone yet or don't really know what it's like to use a high refresh rate screen. But once you do, the smoothness, the perceived speed, the entire user experience gets that much better that to me, it's hard to go back. I tried to go back to Note 10 during the year and couldn't because it felt slow. And that was not because it's a slow phone. It's just because the perceived speed of a 30% slower screen is that big of a difference. So yeah, it's just about feeling smoother the entire time you're using it. And so I can't wait for like 80% of the phones that come out this year over a certain price to all be high refresh rate. I'm ready for that.
So the only thing that the refresh rate does to it is it makes the phone feel smoother, maybe more fluid. But in actuality, though, it doesn't really change how much you use the phone, or it doesn't change how you use the phone that much, I should say.
No, it doesn't change how I use the phone that much. There's some things like, you know, if it has some crazy great feature that might change how I use the phone. But I feel like generally I use every phone kind of the same way.
Right. So knowing that the refresh rate doesn't really change how you use the phone much, I don't know. It's just crazy that you are like, I know you are so huge. You're such a big proponent of the refresh rate, even though it doesn't really change how you use the phone that much. It just makes the phone feel more fluid, more faster, smoother, things like that.
Well, yeah. Well, nothing changes the way I use the phone that much. There's other great features. There's the only thing I could consider something that changes the way I use the phone is battery. Like if it's a terrible battery, that changes the way I use the phone.
Right.
Or if it's an amazing battery, that changes the way I use the phone. But other than that, like you could have the best screen any phone has ever seen as far as like quality, display, resolution, colors. That doesn't change the way I use the phone. You could have an incredible design, but that doesn't change the way I use the phone. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm looking for things that change the feel and the experience of how it feels to use the phone, which are also kind of rare. Refresh rate's one of those things. Occasionally camera is one of those things. When it's that good, I'm like, dang, I want to take more photos because this is just giving me such great photos every time I take one. But yeah, there's not that many.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. One more issue that I didn't have a big of issue with this that I had at your phone of the year, but it's something that kind of made me scratch my head though during your smartphone awards. I don't know if you're up, but I made like a whole live reaction to your smartphone awards, and it's kind of hilarious. But your best design of the year, you gave it to the Galaxy Fold. Now,
did I give my best design of the year or did I give my design of the year?
Okay, you gave the design of the year. You gave design of the year to the Galaxy Fold.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I'm questioning this one because you yourself got the review unit and your review unit broke within 48 hours of you having the phone. Now, I realized that review unit was not the final unit that went out to the mass public, but it wasn't really that. I mean, as far as like the patches that they had to make the phone more durable, even when the phone went out to the retail consumers and things like that, it wasn't that much more durable than the review unit that you got and broke. So my question to you is, how can you name that Galaxy Fold design of the year when it can't even hold up under average, normal, everyday person use?
Okay, so nuanced question, multi-part answer.
Okay.
The first part is generally the reason why I gave it design of the year is because folding phones for me were that big of a deal in design that they actually were interesting to me, and they got me thinking about design again. And there's all these reasons why a folding phone is interesting: the smaller form factor, bigger things, small pocket, all that stuff. The second part is, yes, the review units broke, and they were delicate, and they had very specific issues that allowed dust and debris to get under the screen and the hinge. I don't have mine in front of me, but that wasn't the one they shipped, which is a big point.
Right.
And then when they did ship them, I actually do think they made a notable difference in the build that makes it acceptable to ship it. I don't think you could acceptably ship what they gave the reviewers. So they made that change, and now they're out there, and they're not durable by any means, but they're also not breaking at the 90% rate that they were when they were in our hands. There's only like 6 of them, and like 4 of them broke. So they're definitely doing that a lot better. So they made a legitimate, surprisingly great change that's allowed them to ship it. And it's out there and people are using it. And now you have people out there like Mr. Mobile, and you have people using the phone that are like really into the idea of a folding phone. And the only reason they are is the design. It's not like it has these amazing cameras or these crazy features. It has a couple multi-window things, but that's not a huge deal. It's really the point of it is it's very purposely built as a folding device where you have one mode closed, one mode open. And that was so stark and so impressive to me that it's really the only design that stuck out to me to win Design of the Year. There's other considerations. Actually, you tell me I'm sure you have a Design of the Year that you would have picked.
You know, honestly, I don't even know, man. I mean, maybe the Note. I think the Note was your runner-up. The Note 10. Maybe the Note 10, but
it's tough, man. When you have all these phones in front of you, and you're like, all right, Design of the Year. Well, I can't give it to one that has a huge notch. So, okay. I can't give it to one that has a huge, ugly camera bump. So, okay, that eliminates a bunch of others. Can I give it to one that doesn't have a headphone jack? I guess so. It's kind of not really a design feature anymore. It's sort of gone. So I guess that's criteria. They're pretty much all glass. Like what other design phone stood out as the Design of the Year enough to give it? I wouldn't feel great giving that award to kind of any other phone, you know?
Okay, I get you. Like, as far as standout and like head turners go, absolutely, the Galaxy Fold is it. But to me, I just feel like when you design a phone that can't hold up on the normal, like everyday person use, the design is kind of compromised. So if the design is compromised, how can it be Design of the Year? In my opinion, like I said, I know me and you see things differently, but in my view, the design has to take into account the way a person uses the phone. And if the phone can't hold up on the normal person use, I mean, Marques, when you buy a retail unit of the Galaxy Fold, there is a whole disclaimer sheet. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You saw the whole disclaimer sheet on top of the phone telling you what you can and can't do, how you take care of the phone, things like that. So again, my thought process is, if this thing can't hold up under regular use, how can that have a design that doesn't really take like regular interaction into effect, you know?
Let me push back a little bit.
Okay.
How do we know it doesn't hold up to regular use? Because mine's hold up to regular use, and I feel like I use my phone regularly. And I haven't really seen the stories of, look how all these Galaxy Folds are breaking. I would expect to see that if they continue to break at a high rate under regular use. Now, they're not water resistant. You can't go to the beach with it. You can't walk around in the rain. You know, there's things that you can't do with other waterproof phones. So it's not a perfect design.
Right.
But to me, it does actually hold up to regular use. So I know there's other people who put their phones through much harsher use cases than I do. I'm sitting here in a studio and I plug it in the car, and there's things I do with it. But I'm not really throwing it around that much. But as far as like regular use, like emailing and scrolling while I'm in an Uber, whatever, like regular stuff, it's not really falling apart on me. Unlike when I got the review unit and tried to take the screen protector off. So far, to me, I think it's held up.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to me. Like I said, when you buy the retail unit, you got a whole like splash screen of things that you can and can't do with the phone. So I'm like, Samsung, they even know that this thing is not really meant for like everyday use. That's why they give you the warnings. I don't know, but I mean, I guess when you make a point, if you baby it enough, it does hold up under regular use and things like that. So I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, so they just don't want you to like dig your nails into it. There's things that come with it being a softer screen. So don't put a screen protector on it because that could break it. And that's like a regular use thing. Okay, most people will think about putting a screen protector on it. That's a bummer. Don't use that. But you also close the phone, so it feels protected anyway. Don't dig your nails into it. Don't push on the middle of the screen a whole bunch. But I'm interested in how this evolves, because I know there's going to be more folding phones coming out in the future that will have to deal with these sorts of things.
Oh, speaking of the Galaxy Fold, my next guest tonight is in the chat, and he says his Fold is standing strong. Soldier No Best, what's up, man? How you doing? So Soldier No Best.
There's another one.
He's another one, yeah. It's funny because on my Twitter, I follow a bunch of tech people, which I'm sure you probably do too. And there's a bunch of tech people that have this thing like Soldier No Best, Max Weinbach, Mr. Mobile, you do, and everybody seems to be loving the Fold. So as much as I say about the design and things like that, it seems like most people who have the Fold are genuinely enjoying it. So you really can't take that away from Samsung. They are definitely onto something with the Galaxy Fold.
Do you have a Fold?
I do not know.
Okay. If you ever get the chance to play with one and it doesn't break, check it out. I mean, there's going to be another one in like, what, a month now? But
yeah,
it's worth checking out.
Supposedly there are reports that there's going to be a clamshell foldable Galaxy Fold Z or something like that.
Right.
And then maybe later this year there'll be the true successor to the Galaxy Fold. So we got to see if that comes out.
Yeah.
So we just got through with CES. Obviously, you were there. So I'm curious, what was your favorite thing that you experienced at this year's CES? Favorite
thing I experienced at CES? I'm going to go with not getting sick as number one. I'm going to go with some of those concept cars. I'm just going to go with all the cars as number two. There wasn't really any like one thing that stood out as like, wow, you got to see this one thing at CES. But I finally got to see the Rivian R1T. I got to see that Sony car. I got to see Mercedes weird.
The Avatar,
Avatar car, yeah. But just like cars are interesting again. And there's all these electric, the Ford Mustang Mach-E was also there. I got to see that for the first time. So just all the various autofocus related things I got to see.
Now, speaking of cars, you should come to Chicago next month for the auto show because I actually have media credentials to the auto show. So I'll be there covering and experience and all that good stuff. So yeah, man, cars are pretty cool, especially all these concepts and things that are happening in the future. But again, speaking of cars, you just got a new Tesla or I think you call it the Phantom. So how are you liking your new baby?
Love it. Love it. I mean, what other answer would you expect me to give? Love that thing. Yeah, it's basically the same car as Apollo, but with the newer hardware. So that means there's more cameras, there's a new suspension, there's a new front motor, same battery capacity, but longer range. And it's pretty fast.
I bet, man. I mean, I've never driven a Tesla, but every time I see it, I'm like, wow, that looks pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
But I'm also curious, if you didn't drive a Tesla, what car would you drive?
I've been asked that before. I have no clue. I honestly, so like before I drove a Tesla, I drove a hybrid, Toyota hybrid, and I was fine. I could keep driving that. But at a certain point, like once you test drive a Tesla, you haven't driven one, you said. If you ever test drive one, it changes the way you think about cars forever.
I've heard it before.
It's true. It's kind of a curse. If you have the means and you test drive one, you inevitably will end up getting one. I'd say it's 100% true. So once I test drove one, I was like, oh, I want a performance car. I got to get one of these. But if I didn't get a Tesla, I feel like I'd be somewhere in the hybrid territory. Some sort of probably a hybrid.
So I saw that when it first came out and all the hype was about the Cybertruck, I saw that you placed an order. Do you plan on going through with your order of the Cybertruck?
I do. I plan on it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the reasons I gave were like, it's going to be a great production mobile.
Ooh.
And I think even in in 2020, we're going to have to get one between now and Cybertruck, probably some sort of a van type of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're going to have a Cybertruck out
I here. Cannot wait for the autofocus video on that bad boy. That's going to be like, yeah.
Same. I'm ready.
Yes. Bring it on. Bring it on. I mean, but you took a test drive in it. So what was your experience like taking a drive in that thing? Because it's unlike anything we've ever seen on the road.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Cybertruck from the outside is one thing. It's really aggressive, boxy. It's gigantic. It is a massive truck. Tall. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy dimensions about it. But then you get in one and the test drive is not the same as other trucks you would expect. You get in, you're super high off the ground. There's the triple seats in the front. There's a back seat behind you. There's a full glass roof, and it's not sloping. It's angular, so it goes right up to the point at the top and then cuts back behind you. Mm-hmm. You can look back into the bed, which is lit up. It's gigantic also. And they drive you around, and it's fast. Like I feel like it's Model X fast, which is impressive. Anytime you're in such a big, automobile, you're not expecting to go that quick.
Right.
These big tires, like everything about it is just striking. My reason for getting it was for work because we'd be using it like for utility and we'd be shooting out the back of it and all sorts of stuff. Right. I really can't imagine driving it on the daily, like a regular car. Like you just can't drive it like a regular car. It would be totally wild.
Yeah, that will be wild. Every time I see it in the streets, I'm like, that is just out there for real.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's so Tesla though. Like I get it, you know?
Right.
It's a risk, but we'll see how it goes.
It is definitely Tesla. It is genuinely Elon Musk. That is all Elon. When you look at that truck, man, that is crazy.
Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness. So you just hit a crazy milestone on YouTube. You have surpassed 10 million subscribers. So tell us how it feels to pass that milestone, because that is just craziness.
It's a lot of people.
Right.
I mean, it was already a lot of people, but like seeing the digits tick up, that's like, I don't know if I have the words for it, but it just makes you sort of think back about the scale of how many people are watching tech videos compared to when we started. When I started, which 10, 11 years ago now, trying to imagine a tech channel with 1 million subscribers was insane, because when I started, the #1 channel on all of YouTube had less than 1 million subscribers. So yeah, a 10 million on a tech channel is incredible. I'm super grateful for it.
As far as I know, there's only 2 tech channels with 10 or more million. That's you and Lou, and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's next. I think maybe Ajahn might be next, because she's at 6 million, right?
Oh,
Linus. That's right. Linus is right there. He should be
right there.
He should be hitting 10 million any day now, right? That's right.
Yeah.
And then after him, I think it's Ajahn. So yeah, it's not too many in that Diamond Play Club. Whew, man.
Yeah. Gonna get that button soon.
Yeah, I know. Y'all better get my man his button, y'all. Get him the button immediately, right?
Soon.
Get it to him.
I think soon.
So when you did your 10 million video, you finally told everybody what your middle name was. And
Yeah.
I remember you saying that you wanted to kind of keep that close to the vest, because that was one of the last things that were private. Like, I guess everybody had found out everything else about you, so you want to keep the middle name thing close to the vest.
Yeah. Yeah, that was about it. I mean, it kind of was like a running joke for a while. It was, I don't know how many years ago it started, but it was like, oh, what can you tell us what the K stands for on MKBHD? And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm not going to tell you.
No.
And then like, months later, it was like, all right, when we hit 10 million subscribers, I'll tell you, like that'll ever happen. Just to, that'll be a running joke. When I hit 10 million, whatever, it's not happening. And then, a couple years later, it's like, hey, you're at 8.9. You're going to tell us what the K stands for, right? Yeah, I guess that's still happening. Sure. So, yeah, that is what happened. You saw the video, I revealed it, and now I have nothing.
It's interesting, because I think your middle name was already on Wikipedia, though, so it's already out there for people if they look for it. But yeah, it's just funny how sometimes when information is right there in front of your face, you still don't see it for whatever reason.
It's 2020, everything leaks. So
everything.
If it's in the tech world, it's gonna leak, man.
No doubt, man. But speaking of leak, that's a good segue into our next topic here.
Nice.
The Galaxy S20. I mean, we got a whole spec sheet on this phone out there in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
And the Galaxy S20 in particular, Marques, looks like an absolute beast of a phone.
It's true.
6.9 inches. This thing has a 2K display, 120 hertz refresh rate.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna have a 108 megapixel camera with a 40 megapixel front facing camera. Just think about that. A 108 megapixel rear camera with a 40 megapixel front facing camera on, and some type of periscope zoom. Like what is this, Marques? What is going on here?
Okay, so here's how I'll contextualize it. It's not going to be the only phone that comes out this year with crazy specs. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be the only phone that comes out this year with that screen. But when they put all these things together, so you have this huge high refresh rate, high res AMOLED, love it. You get that, you get I think it's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery on the Ultra or the Plus, or whatever they're calling it. Mm-hmm. And you get like Samsung's new UI on top of Android 10. You got all those other things people are familiar with in their Android phones. It's going to be a pretty great user experience. But yeah, there's already smartphones out there with that 108 megapixel sensor in them. I believe there's already a phone out there that has the 40 megapixel front-facing sensor. So they're just putting it all in one place, backed by a Snapdragon 865 and an absurd amount of RAM. And I got no problem with it.
Yeah, that phone is going to be crazy.
I'm ready.
It's interesting because I think Austin Never put out a video, and then my man Travis MC put out a video about how even though this phone is going to have monster specs, it doesn't really change the way we use phones too much. I mean, yeah, it'll have like crazy cameras and crazy RAM and things like that, but at the end of the day, it's just a souped up version of what we're already used to. It doesn't really change the landscape per se.
Okay, I have thoughts on this, and this is actually what I was thinking about making my next video on.
Okay.
Is people who are like, this is only a small change, and then they will complain about it. Like, oh, this phone, it only has 4 extra gigs of RAM. What does it matter? This is only a slightly better camera, and then proceed to be like, it's not that big a deal, and then like dismiss it. But that's the only thing we can do is make slightly better things than last year. This is a mature market. It's smartphones. This isn't like electric cars where everyone that comes out is a giant step forward. So when a new phone comes out and there's literally nothing to complain about, we'll complain about how it's not actually that great. You know what I mean? It seems like unnecessarily negative. So the topic of it would have been like, everyone who seems to like say, are we at peak smartphone yet? And then the answer is always yes, phones are done. And I think that take sort of ignores the fact that phones started folding in half last year. The fact that there's all these other new features coming out, and we have wireless charging, and we have fast charging now, and we have high refresh rate screens happening now, and all these things that we didn't have like 1 year ago or 2 years ago that are all significantly better. So I'm a fan of incremental improvement when it is really incremental improvement.
Yeah, I think any advancement is an advancement. I mean, you really can't like knock an advancement no matter how incremental. I mean, I think that was my big complaint about iPhones last year. I kind of felt like when we heard all the leaks and everything, I'm like, man, the iPhone 11 is not going to be that much of an upgrade from the 10S. Man, y'all can skip that. And then I got the iPhone 11 in my hand. I'm like, oh, this is a lot.
Usually, it's not. If you're framing it in the context of this isn't that big of an upgrade if you have last year's phone already, sure, fine. People don't have to buy a new $1,000 phone every year, but most people don't. So if you're looking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years back, and you're like, man, this Galaxy S20, it's got a 7-inch 2K 120 hertz screen and a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, but like it's not that much better than the last year. Are you kidding me? Like this is an incredible like combination of things to put in one place. So I'm usually pretty optimistic about these slight improvements that we get.
Yeah, like I said, I think I learned my lesson last year because when I got the iPhone 11 Pro Max in my hand, I started using. I'm like, oh wow, this is a lot better than I ever expected. Like this is legit. Like wow,
yeah. Like
it was a bunch of small tweaks and refinements, but they all like kind of added up to make the best iPhone experience I've ever had. So
yeah. And in that phone, they made the correct big improvements. Like battery was a big improvement, camera was a big improvement. Like those are some of the biggest things that matter in a phone. So
definitely. Speaking of battery and camera improvement, Marques.
Speaking of,
why can't Google get the Pixel right? Why can't they get it right, man? They're always missing something. I really thought that last year would be the year that Google just got everything right, but at last, not so much.
Yeah, you would think there would be a year where the company that makes Android would make a great Android phone. Turns out Google isn't a hardware company. And so every year when we put really high expectations for Google's hardware, we're just shooting ourselves in the foot. We're not going to get amazing hardware from Google. The best part about the Pixel is always going to be the software, as long as that's true. And they've tried random things that have had varying levels of success. They bought some of HTC. They had that Motorola acquisition. They've gone, back and forth on that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, Pixel is about software, computational photography, Android features, Android updates, that sort of thing. And that's where they delivered again this year. And the fact that we're disappointed about the hardware, it sucks that they're not making the best hardware, but that's not where we should be looking for hardware.
I agree. I obviously have a Pixel 4 and Google sent me one. And even though in relation to the competition is not really up there, I still enjoy using the device. And I enjoy using it more than my OnePlus 7 Pro that I got. But I mean, it's weird because, again, when you look at it in relation to the competition, it's not really bringing much to the table that the competition is. But I enjoy the camera and that telephoto lens zoom, that super red zoom that they touted. That is crazy. I was at a hockey game, Marques, and I used it, and it was bananas how close I was able to zoom into the hockey players and still maintain a decent picture. Like when when you zoom in, usually you lose the picture details, everything gets grainy and things like that. But with the Pixel
Right.
4, you zoom in, you still keep most of the detail, and it still looks legit, dude.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's frustrating because it would be so dope if they could make great hardware because their software is so good. Like how great would it be if we had rumors that the next Pixel was going to be 2K 120 hertz AMOLED, 5,000 milliamp hour battery, 100 megapixel camera, like all this stuff. We'd be like, oh wait, there's no reason to even think about the other phones this year. This is the one. So yeah, that's frustrating because it's definitely not happening.
Yeah, like you said, Google. I don't think Google cares too much about the hardware. Like you said, they're not a hardware company; they're a software company. I think their main.
I don't even think it's that they don't care. I just think they're just not good at it. Like they wish they want to be good at it. They've tried. They have their own identity, right? They have their design language. It's consistent through the years. They have their accented power button and they've got the squeeze feature and they're like, oh yeah, we do hardware. Yeah. And then they mess a lot of other pieces of it up and they're not that great at hardware, but I think they do care. They're just not good at it.
Well, I mean, they've had 4 iterations. So at some point, they need to be good at it. They need to get good at it. There's no excuse. You're Google. You're one of the largest companies in the world. You have all the data that they have at their disposal, Marques. There's no reason why they shouldn't be decent at least at making hardware by now.
Think about it this way. The Pixel, here's an analogy. The Pixel is the Tesla of smartphones, meaning they're way better at software than any other company in their business, right? And they have an advantage because of that. So with Pixel, they make Android. They get to build all these features in super tight. Hardware, it's fine. It's a vessel for the software, but it's not the part that's selling you. Same way for Tesla, like they have autopilot. They have all this incredible efficiency optimization software for their motors. They could have the same size battery pack as Audi and go twice as far because their software is better. Now, the build quality and the hardware, that's not people are still going to buy other things when they like hardware. They're going to buy the Audi. They're going to buy the Porsche. They're going to buy the iPhone. They're going to buy the Samsung. That's for the hardware. But if you just want the software and the experience, the actual piece you use to be top notch, then you're getting the Tesla or the Pixel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even though I would argue that the Tesla have pretty sexy looking hardware, though. I mean,
I don't get me wrong; they're all pretty good. I really like the hardware, but you know, if you're just trying to get the best possible car build, you'd pick the Porsche every time. So
right,
yeah,
I got you. Now you just came back from London. Can you talk about why you're over there yet, or is that under wraps?
It's under wraps for now, but
okay.
It's going to be February, and we'll know soon enough. It's pretty close.
Okay, gotcha. All right,
Yeah.
Cool. What else we got? So we're in a brand new year, 2020, and we got a whole year of tech ahead of us. So what are you looking forward to most here in 2020?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff. So the 2 main things that I look at are smartphones and electric cars. And I think this is a pretty cool year for a lot of that stuff. If you look at folding phones and just the bleeding edge of smartphones again, you already talked about Galaxy S20.
Yep.
We're probably going to have a pretty great iPhone this year. Looking at the next Galaxy Fold, that's going to be interesting. What's Google going to do with the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4a? That could be interesting. So smartphones have a lot of stuff coming up. And then electric cars, there's about 5 or 6 autofocus episodes I want to do right now. I just want to get in a Porsche Taycan. I just want to get in the Mach-E and the Rivian R1T and the Tesla Model Y, like right now, and see what it's all about and like really like start to put the pillars down in this landscape because it's not nearly as mature as a lot of the stuff we look at every day. So electric cars are a fun one this year.
Yeah, I think like the electric car market is definitely heating up, man. Tesla sparked the fire, and everybody else is like following suit. Like you said, we just got the unveiling of the Mustang Mach-E. You got Rivian with the truck that makes 360 turns, and the Porsche Taycan is doing things. So, if you weren't making videos about tech and not electric cars or anything like that, what would your YouTube channel be about?
Honestly, probably sports. Okay. I don't know. My first ever, little known fact, my first ever videos were just of my golf swing. Like the first thing I ever uploaded before any tech video. And that was just because I wanted like to see if other golfers on YouTube would critique my swing. But that there was something to that. of like the analytics of like learning about your golf swing or learning about, it could have been Ultimate Frisbee, just through the larger community on the internet. So I guess it probably would have been something like that, some sort of sport related channel, vlog, maybe. I don't know.
Now I know you watch the NBA, but do you watch the NFL at all?
Very little. I've
Very
watched probably a combined one game this year through all the segments of games I've watched. Yeah, I'm mostly watching basketball.
Gotcha. So I haven't really watched much NBA myself recently, but what's going on in the league? I mean, I know LeBron is over there with Anthony Davis in LA, and then you have Kawhi, and I don't know who he's with on the Clippers side, but
yeah. No, it's a pretty interesting year. It went from an obvious like 1 and 2 best teams where it was like, okay, Golden State's going to the finals, obviously, and we'll probably get like one of the top 3 teams in the East, Toronto, Bucks, or whoever else wants to challenge them in the East finals, and then they'll just meet off in the finals. Big deal. Now we have like all these duos that are like teaming up across the league. So we got like, I've been following Houston, the Rockets.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Harden, that's Russell Westbrook. I have one of them on my fantasy team, and I've been doing pretty well. James Harden. And yeah, like Philly's got a nice duo, and Embiid and Simmons, they've been coming up. You got Giannis absolutely dominating the East in Milwaukee with Chris Middleton. That's a pretty sick duo. You know, I was making all these comparisons in my my podcast when I was talking about MVPs. Actually,
I heard that right.
I was like, there's a good argument for about 6 guys for MVP right now. So it's a pretty good year.
I bet. So the last time I talked to you, you had posted a pic on Twitter of your new studio. So what's the update on that?
Yeah, we're looking at February to move all our stuff in, and that's not going to be fast. I think we're gonna not vlog it, but we're gonna like capture that process. Well, going from an empty box to a studio, because that's kind of fun. Kind of similar to, I don't know if you follow Peter McKinnon, what he's doing right now. He's just moved into his new space.
That's right. Yeah,
and he's starting to move stuff in, take care of sound, take care of furniture, all that stuff that makes a video studio a video studio. So. That's February for us, which is right around the corner.
Gotcha. So you feel like it'll be like a few weeks before you're all moved in, or?
Definitely. Oh yeah. I mean, if I point the camera around at like all the thousands of pounds of electronics we have to move, it's going to be a little bit, but probably in a month from when we start, we should at least have moved all the stuff from one box to the other box, and then we can set stuff up. So I'm excited though. I'm ready. Is that
gonna put your video production behind, or are you gonna like pre-record videos, or how are you gonna handle that?
Well, I'll still be making videos. So I kind of have this plan of like, we have 2 other spaces down the hall, and we'll start moving that stuff down there first while we still make videos here. And then we'll slowly start to piece out things in here. The podcast table behind me, that can go, that won't impact video production. Half the stuff back here with the 8K TV and the gaming setup, I can start moving stuff. So by the time like this place is empty and we're still doing videos here, we'll be almost done setting up down there. And then we'll just swap over all the last of the stuff real quick. So I'm not really too worried about the video schedule. I just think I want to make it the best studio possible and then just pick up where I left off.
Gotcha. I am pretty sure you will handle that all in due order. I have faith in you.
Thank you. Hopefully we do.
So, question for you. Are you familiar with VidSummit at all?
Yes. When was that? That was late last year?
It's in October of every year. It's usually in Los Angeles. So our buddy Daryl E, who started VidSummit, I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago, I think he put out a tweet a few days ago asking who we would like to see at VidSummit. And I actually mentioned you. So I'm curious if you would have any interest in presenting at VidSummit, because I think it would be pretty cool to hear you talk there.
Yes. So last year, I was also invited to VidSummit by Mr. Beast, and I was unable to go because October is a really busy time.
Yes, it is.
So you already know Pixel's coming out. You already know the iPhone's around the corner. So like that's a lot of stuff. I'm pretty sure there was some event. I was like either in like the Bay Area or something.
No, the Pixel event is right around the same time usually. Yeah.
Yeah, the Pixel event was in New York around that time. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but I wanted to go and I was literally unable to because of timing. I would have loved to have gone. But you're right. Those types of conferences where you get to like literally learn from other creators about not only their workflow, but just their strategy and the way they think about the platform and what they do is kind of sick. I'm hopefully trying to get to one this year.
All right. I'm going to make a selfish request.
Okay.
If you have any possible way of making it to VidSummit this year, can you please do, because I'm going to try to be there myself, and it'll be cool to meet you in person, finally.
I hope to, yeah. Well, when we roll around October, we get to figure out what's happening. I'll line stuff up and we'll see if we can make it happen.
I know, man. October, like for the last 2 years, it's been like bananas, man.
Yeah,
like,
it really starts in
everything.
September.
Right, yep.
The iPhone is September. And then this year we got like the Mac Pro and we got all the stuff that was like coming from WWDC to the end of the year. And we're like, is it going to be now? Is it going to be in like November? And then we get the Pixel in October, but we also just got the Note right at the end of August. And then, no, the Note was earlier in the year. And then we got Galaxy S and the Note. You know what I mean? Like there's so much stuff. It's hard to keep track. So all this stuff comes out and we're like full in the mood. Oh, the other thing was we just wrapped shooting Retro Tech. And so as soon as we wrapped shooting Retro Tech, we just went right back to like catching up on videos. So we were like full steam ahead. I don't know. There's a lot going on. But
so speaking of Retro Tech, are you gonna be doing any more like a season 2 this year, or are you taking a break from it, or how's that going?
The plan is Retro Tech season 2, but the details are unknown right now.
Gotcha.
We're not sure. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Gotcha. All right, I got a different like word topic question like ideas for this next segment. I have been on YouTube for 3 years, and ever since I've been on YouTube, Marques, there have been this strange thing around the YouTube space or whatever the case may be, Twitterverse, whatever, that for whatever the hell reason it is, it seems like it is taboo for smaller creators to reach out to larger creators to collab or just have chats like me and you were doing, things like that. So you have done me the pleasure and honor of meeting or talking with me 4 times now in the past year alone. So I guess my first question is, why me? Like, because obviously you're a busy dude. You can pretty much do whatever you want. And every time I've DM'd you, you've been nothing but nice and pleasant to me. You came into my live streams like I said this time before. So why me?
I collab with people that I like their work, period. Now I watch a lot of tech channels, so I'm sort of biased when like a tech channel reaches out and I've seen their stuff and I don't really care about the audience size. I'm just like, oh yeah, we should work together. So that's number one, is I like your work, and if anyone's work is good, I'm willing to see if I can collab with them. But also, this is going to sound really arrogant, but when you're in my position, it's almost like there's no more point to trying to collaborate with the biggest YouTuber to combine audiences and stuff like that. That's not really a focus of my collaborations anymore. I'm just trying to collab with people who make good stuff and we can make a better video. A lot of my collaborations last year were with people who either gave reactions to things. That was the blind smartphone camera test, and people reacted to things. We had people give their favorite pieces of tech. So you have like a variety of voices and perspectives from the tech world. I don't think the size of the audience should matter for those type of collabs, as long as people do actually legit good work.
Listen, man, I definitely appreciate you coming on these live streams, man. It's kind of weird because I'm always looking at the chat when I have you on, and I can sense there's a palpable excitement in my live chat when you are on with me. And it's just, I think we have pretty good chemistry when we're doing these chats. So it kind of works out pretty well, man.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if you would just tell the people out there right now that can we just please kill the taboo of smaller creators can't reach out to bigger creators? Can we just kill that, Marques? Because I'm getting tired of it myself. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't know this was a taboo, but if it is, there's no reason for it to be. I think here's what I'll say. If you're a smaller creator and you have a goal to work with a creator whose work you enjoy or whose videos you like watching or whatever it is, no matter the size of their audience, let them know, but also offer the end result being better than the original, because that's usually what a creator cares about. If you can offer like, listen, I have these sweet animations I do, let's make a video where it's animated and we can work and it'll be better than anything we've ever made individually, that's amazing. If you have this unique perspective of, you worked at this company, let's make a video where we talk from the perspective of this company so we can attack this new angle on something. There's all these different ways to make a collaboration actually great. If you're a streamer and if you have great questions and you want to do interview stuff, or if you have the voice of 1,000 men in one body, then use that and make that the best part of it. You know, like that's the best thing you can do is offer something that makes it better than if you hadn't collaborated. So that's my advice, I guess.
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of limits what these collaborations is that I think sometimes people have the wrong idea of how to go about collaborating. I think a lot of smaller creators actually like approach bigger creators with the idea of trying to get like something out of them, like trying to mooch off of their sub count or things like that. You can attest to this, man. I have never asked you for anything besides you having a chat with me. I've not asked to be on your channel. I haven't asked you to shout me out or nothing like that. And I took in the same approach with everybody I reach out to, whether it be John Redinger or Soldier No Best or anybody.
Yeah.
All I ask you guys is, can you come on here and have a conversation with me in my live stream? And that's it. And we just do that. Like I said, this is your 4th time on my live stream. So apparently I must be doing something right if you felt like you were able to come on here 4 times and talk to me. It's all about approach and how you treat people, man. I think some of that gets lost.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, geez, I sound old saying that sentence. Forget I ever said that sentence. But I remember like a couple years ago on YouTube, maybe like 8-9 years ago on YouTube, that was like a big thing. Like there's a whole sub for sub culture on YouTube. Where it's like you sub to me, I sub to you. That's it. That's the whole collab. Like that was all people really cared about, was like that super basic metric of like, you have 3,000, I have 1,000. Let's collab. I gain, then you gain. You know what I mean? Like we sort of lost track of that. I think it's much more mature now. Someone said I'm available to be your anger translator. It's much more mature now as a collaborative environment, and collaborations, at least from what I've experienced, are more about making it a win-win for everyone involved, making a better video for the audience, making a better video than each one of those creators could have individually made. That to me is a successful collaboration. And usually the benefit is, then if you haven't seen the other person, then you will go over and see the rest of their work and maybe check them out and subscribe. But that's usually the beginning of how a collab happens.
Exactly. I mean, and this might sound weird, but there's an interesting dynamic here, because obviously you have 10 million subs and I have like 3,000 Soku on my main channel. So on the face, you would think that I can't really offer you much value, but believe it or not, there are people that watch these live streams between me and you that have not watched your content, or they haven't watched your content in a while. So when they see you talking with me, they're like, all right, he's pretty down to earth, he's cool. And then they go check out your content, which is kind of strange to say, but I've seen this happen over and over again when I've had bigger creators on these live streams. So there is something to that.
Yeah, and these are questions I've never answered before. These are like new things, like, and we can talk about like the previous videos and questions you've come up with. This kind of reminds me of podcast formats where, like, if you think about like Joe Rogan's podcast, pretty big podcast. Like he doesn't really need to have a huge guest on, you know what I mean, to like get their audience to watch his podcast or vice versa. But people are willing to go on his podcast to have a great conversation and to answer questions they've never answered and asked before, to just talk it up, chat about things. Why would, pick any celebrity, pick Elon, Neil deGrasse Tyson, whatever. Why would they go on Joe's podcast? To just have that conversation. Yeah. So yeah, the back and forth is great. And hopefully that message gets out, that you don't have to base everything solely on numbers to make a good video or collab.
I hope so, dude. I hope so too, man. There's like 70 people watching this live stream right now. So they've all gotten that message, and there will be many people that watch this replay. So they hopefully will get that message that they have a bigger creator that they're into, or any creator for that matter. If they want to work with them, if they want to collab with that person, then they should just reach out. And you never know, man. You never know.
Yeah, have a vision in mind for how to make that. Because if you just reach out and you're like, yo, I love your stuff, let's collab, you might be super genuine, but that probably won't get their attention because people say that to them all the time. Have like a genuine something in mind that would be the end result, that would be better, and then present that. It's almost like giving value to someone. And then they'll see that and they're like, okay, I like that. That's something that would make the video better. Let's make it happen.
No doubt, man. No doubt. All right, so there's about 10 minutes left before I want to keep them too long. You guys like to keep them for an hour or less. So if you guys in the chat have any questions for Marques Brownlee, now is the time. I will let him address your questions, and we will go from there. So if you guys have any questions, now is the time to make yourself known. There's not too many of you in here, so I'm pretty sure we can see them and address them, and we'll let Marquez answer some questions because I know when you live stream, you have like some 10,000 people going through your chat, and I'm pretty sure it's hard for you to answer comments and questions and things like that. So this should be a pretty simple way to do it. So I'm opening the floor for questions for Marquez. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
See the chat. I see the chat.
He sees the chat. He's looking at you all.
I see you.
He sees you.
How's the S20? I don't have it yet. Come on.
That is the running joke on Twitter. Everybody thinks that you have a device like a month in advance, man.
I don't have the S20 right now. I can say that definitively. If I had it, I wouldn't be saying this. I do have some other stuff on this desk, but I don't have an S20.
Oh my God. All right, go. Michael Pepper Tech Talk says, have specs become too much of a focus, and why aren't companies focusing on the basics more?
Interesting. The focus of us or the focus of the companies? I feel like a lot of companies have gotten a lot of the basics really well. That's debatable. Battery is not always nailed, but a lot of companies have nailed the basics of, do you run Android? Do you have your software relatively optimized for this hardware? Do you have a decent camera? Does it all function? So at that point, specs are pretty important. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. Something up here. Oh, Simply Beth wants to know what mic you're using right now.
This is the Blue Yeti X, actually.
Ooh.
There you go.
That sounds pretty good too. Nice.
Yeah, USB.
Okay. Tech for Your Needs wants to know if what would happen if YouTube goes away? What would you be doing, Marquez?
The impossible question. If the impossible happened, what would you do? I feel like I would probably leverage my newly learned video editing skills to run some sort of a production business. Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Trent Marshall wants to know, what is the most frustrating thing about making content in 8K?
In 8K? The render time. Because it's funny, I did that Q&A in 8K like on a whim. I was like, you know what, screw it, I'll do this video in 8K. And then I was like, oh God, now I have to really do that now. Okay, fine. So I did it. I kept everything. We shot 8K. We put it on the timeline, made an 8K timeline. Editing was smooth, no hiccups, no problems. Scrolling, scrubbing, dropping effects on, everything was great. And then I hit export. And it was just chilled. It took its time. And this, I used to wait this long for videos to export, so I shouldn't even be that mad, but I'm used to waiting right now with the Mac Pro, literally 10 minutes to export a video. I think I waited about 3 hours to export that 8K video. So that's the big bottleneck. And then you got to upload that 30 gig file. That way for YouTube to process that 30 gig file. So yeah, the time.
I do.
Time.
Man. All right, we got Next Level Tech, MKBHD. What's the first step in reaching out to companies to get phones to review?
I made these first steps a long time ago. Really, you just have to say, you have to show your previous work that you are in this, I think you said smartphones. So show that you're in the smartphone review game already. I get so many emails that are like, I want to start a YouTube channel. Can we collab? It's like, well, you haven't done anything yet. So
I've said it before.
Do something so I can have a reason to want to collaborate. So if you're trying to reach out to smartphone companies and you've never reviewed a smartphone, you're starting at the wrong spot. Pick the phone you already got, review that, start from there, start to improve your craft, get your work better, then switch that, then ask for smartphones.
I have said this before. It's so funny, Marquez, that I have so many small creators coming into my inbox wanting to be on my live stream, and I'm like, who are you? I've never seen you before. Like, why would I entertain this? And you've never been in my comment section, never been in my live stream. Like, who are you? Like, that's not right to me. Like,
you gotta have a reason.
Yeah, like at least when I came to you the first time, at least you probably recognized my name from your comment section or something. Like,
yeah.
Come on, man. What's going on?
I recognize I read a lot of tweets and I recognize a lot of names on Twitter, and I believe it or not in the comment section. No matter how many thousand comments there are, I recognize faces and names. Not all names. I'm pretty bad with names, but I recognize the things I see most often. So that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Oh, we got my head of security has a recommendation here. Marquez needs to try these Master Out Panda wireless headphones. First wireless headphones with a built-in THX amp combined with planar ribbon drivers. Ooh.
Now I've tried planar ribbon drivers, but wireless headphones with THX amp and okay, that's an interesting combo. Does that make them sound amazing or something?
I'm gonna guess probably.
Okay. Wireless I typically think of as like a convenience thing. That's not for sound quality. But planar ribbon drivers and a THX certified amp sounds like they're focusing on sound quality. So wireless, yeah, interesting. Mass drop. I'll check it out. Aren't they just drop now?
Yeah, I think they're just dropped now. Yeah.
Drop. All right.
All right. Jorge wants to know best product you've ever spent your own money on.
That's the Tesla. Yeah.
Boom.
But LASIK is the number one thing I've ever spent money on. No doubt. I guess I could say food.
How was the experience getting LASIK? Is it like bad or is it just pretty simple?
Dude, are you a candidate? Do you wear glasses or anything?
I wear glasses and contacts only when I drive, really. But other than that, I don't
know what the prescription is. I
don't know offhand. No.
So mine, I was a perfect candidate. Minus 2.75, minus 2.5. I'm nearsighted.
Me too.
So
yep.
I have like bad, far vision. So I'd wear contacts all the time. I got tired of it. I was like, I'm gonna do LASIK by 2020. This is it. Got the consultation done, and they were like, yeah, you can't. This is the thing. I didn't actually wear glasses for like 8 years. I always wore contacts.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, all right, for the 2 weeks, I think, leading up to the surgery, you can't wear contacts.
Right.
You got to wear glasses. I was like, all right. So I went straight to Lens Crafters, got a pair of glasses, wore them for 2 weeks, went into the surgery. The surgery lasted less than 10 minutes. I walked out back to my car, and by the end of the day, I had perfect vision, and I drove back the next morning by myself for a follow-up appointment. Perfect vision. It was amazing. I had like, a little bit of redness in my eye from the little thing that comes down. My biggest fear, I'm just rambling because this is such a wild experience for me, but my biggest fear was, I was like, there's no way I can keep my eyes open long enough.
Right.
I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to like pry my eyes open. I'm going to be like trying to blink and it's going to be so bad. But they numb your eye. You don't even think about blinking after a while. Dude, it's like, it's the weirdest part. I'll be totally honest. The weirdest part is seeing the thing come down onto your eye like this and then seeing the doctor with a little brush, like brushing off your eye after he fixes your, that might be the weirdest thing, is like, if you're uncomfortable with that, you might be a little weirded out. Worth it though. Worth it.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we got my man Signeri said, Viper, MKBHD, what are your thoughts on streaming platforms like Twitch, Mixer, and will you ever create content on them?
Twitch seems great. Mixer seems aggressive and ambitious. I like it. I happen to think that live streaming is a completely different skill from video production, and that video production is the skill that I've been honing for a decade. Live streaming is not. So will I ever create content for them? I won't say never, but it's not like my next plan was to go take over Twitch. I feel like the Twitch community and the live streaming creators have a completely different, incredible skill set that I do not have.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I think technically T had a question. Let me find it. Where'd it go? I think he was asking about cars. Oh, here we go. Technically T said, what other car would you buy outside of Teslas and other EVs? Ooh.
Right now, I'm super into, this is such a stupid answer. I'm super into McLarens right now. So yeah, if I were to buy another car right now, it would be a McLaren, which is not, it's not an EV, it's not a hybrid, but it's a sports car, and it is incredibly impractical, and that's why I haven't done it.
Okay. All right. My last question.
Yeah.
Hope you don't take it the wrong way, but I need people to I need you to shut this down like right now.
Okay.
Your phone, we're going back to the first question of this very podcast. Your phone of the year last year was the OnePlus 7 Pro.
Yeah.
The year before that, your phone of the year was the OnePlus 6T. I am not one of these people, but there are people out there that think that you, Marques, may be securing the bag from OnePlus.
Yeah, no.
Can you please just shut that down? Because I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, no. That's so they're not allowed to do that. You have to disclose if you're getting paid for anything. That's like first up, right off.
Right.
Everyone always likes to say, "Oh, how much is X company paying you?" If they haven't said and they are paying you, that company could get sued big time. So they're not doing that. That being said, no, I do not sell my smartphone awards that are my personal picks for the best of the year. That is fully on me. Now, you can call me biased. I get that. But it's definitely not being impacted by any company in any direct way. And the other thing is, even if they, let's say they wanted to, like, let's put that full hypothetical for people who really think this is true. Let's say, pick a company, Asus. They come along, they're like, Marques, we want to be your smartphone of the year. And they're clearly not. So I'll go, okay, it'll cost this many dollars. And then they're like, all right, boom. Now my smartphone of the year is clearly wrong, right? What does that look like to everyone else? And the entire thing just looks terrible now because it clearly is not the correct choice. And there's a glaring, and the reason I'll have to give is like, oh, it could have been this other phone, but I don't know. I just kind of like this company now. Like, I don't know. It would just look super fishy and phony. So when you think about it more than about 3 seconds, you'll come up with about 9 ways why it's not true. Yeah, shut it down.
Yeah, I completely believe you, man. Like, it's funny because I tell people that I don't remember that many times where Mark has actually done sponsored content on his channel, but people have reminded me that you have done sponsored content before, but yeah, you don't have too many sponsored videos on your channel, man. And much, unless I'm just like not remembering things, you don't do too many sponsored videos.
That's right. Yeah. And I think that when you do too many sponsored things, it gets distracting. I could count how many sponsored videos in the past year. I think I've done either 5 or 6 sponsored things, and only none of them were an entire video about a sponsored thing. Last time I did that was like 3 years ago. But I've had sponsored integrations inside of videos, and sponsored items that are obviously disclosed because that's how they work. I think the last one I can remember was Oculus wanted to share this guy. This part isn't sponsored, obviously. When I did my last Dope Tech episode, they had a segment where they wanted to share this, and I was already using it and loving it, so that made perfect sense. But yeah, I haven't done a ton of sponsored stuff in the last, ever, really.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Marques Brownlee, MKBHD. Pretty soon you have to rename yourself to MKBH1 8K or whatever. It has been a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
No doubt, man. I mean, at this point, I don't really need to tell people where to find you. You all know where to find them. If you're watching the live stream on YouTube, you know where to find them. If for whatever reason you're listening to this on audio only and you don't know where to find them, I'll have his info in the show notes, but just type in MKBHD on all the things and you will find Marques. This is an interesting night because I am not done tonight. No, the podcast is not done because in about an hour from now, I will be joined by Mark Watson, aka Soldier Knows Best. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
The legend himself.
Dude, he is one of the first tech YouTubers I've ever watched on the platform, man.
Shout out to Mark. He was one of my inspirations before I was even making videos. He was one of the ones I was like, yo, I got to collaborate with this guy. This guy's so good. He did the ScreenFlow stuff forever. Big shout out to Mark.
No doubt, man. No doubt. But yeah, I will be talking to Mark in an hour here, but I got to go. Marques has to go. I got to go put out a video. I know he has to go do things, but we out of here. So until an hour from now, this your boy Viper, the man about tech. You know where to find me. So come back for more. In this live portion here.